Hello again, art friends. I'm back working in my little mini freeform collage sketchbook. And for those of you that like to do collage but also doodle, this video will walk through how you can do that with just 2 colors of paper. All right. So we're going to do something like this, and then you can come back and add in pen marks, either with white or black or whatever colors you want. So I am going to flip this over and use the other side of this. This is just a mixed media pad from Acro, and it's 120 pounds, so it's got a little bit of weight to it, which is great for adding anything that's got wet medium. I'm not actually doing wet medium, although the glue obviously is a little bit wet. All right, so what I've done is I've created a square on my page, and I just cut out a template that fits this particular book. It's 7.5 by 6.5. So for this one, you want to have a set size, because what you need to do is create some colored paper rectangles. And the way you calculate like what size you need is based on the final size that you're going to do your project. And you want 2 of each color. You could do black and white, you can do yellow and pink. It doesn't really matter. You just need 2 blocks for each color. And the way you determine what size these need to be is that you want to do one horizontally and do one vertically on either side. This is a little bit longer. This is 7.5, this is 6.5. So I chose to use the short side as my measurement. So when you do your blocks, you want to make sure that one will fit vertically and one will fit horizontally, basically in your size box that you created. So I basically just took 6.5, decided I wanted to offset this. I think this is 3.5, and then the rest of this was whatever was left. I hope that makes sense. I can't give you exact sizes because it all depends on the paper that you have. I will put in the description below the final size that I did here and what the size of those papers are. And if you're going to do 8.5 by 11, I can give you some sizes for that as well. All right, so the first thing we want to do is cut out some shapes from these papers. And this can really be anything you want. So this one, I'm going to do 2 kind of little humps here. Maybe one's a little bigger, one's a little smaller. And I want to save all of these pieces. This one, let's see. Maybe we're going to cut some pieces more like that. We could do one more. You don't want to cut them into too many pieces, you know, to do no more than sort of 4 pieces. All right, so I've got all of my stuff here. Now, this paper is just some construction paper that I got from, I believe this came from Dick Blick or one of the art stores. It's just heavy construction paper, and it's acid free. So I know I can use it, and if I have something I really like, it's going to not sort of decompose over the time. So it is fade resistant and acid free. So I got a pack of black, I got a pack of white, and then I got this. This is a 12 by 16, and it's multicolored. So super cool to work with. It's not fuzzy like the cheap construction paper that you had in school. It's really more like a nice art paper, and it's easy to glue down and cut through. And I really like all the colors that come. Now you can get different versions of it, like pastel colors or brights or that sort of thing. So it really all just depends on what you like. Okay, so I have my handy dandy glue stick here, ready to go. For this one, what you want to do is pick 2 pieces that have a 90-degree edge on them to start with. And you want to put them in the corners. Could be opposite corners, could be the same corners, could be the same way. It doesn't matter how you arrange them on here. Maybe I want to put it, let's see, I think I'll put it this way. Okay, so those again are your 2 anchoring pieces. Maybe I want to go with a little bit bigger piece here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. And again, you can use any glue you have on hand. I would just recommend an acid-free, some sort of archival glue if you want to make sure that you can keep this for a little while. And then I'm just putting this on the lines and gluing that down. All right, so now with the rest of the pieces, it's just time to start filling in. So because I cut these so that I can do a short piece and a long piece, I probably would do a long piece that way. You can overlap pieces if you want. Maybe those 2 pieces don't quite work together. So maybe the long one, or the bigger one, needs to go up here. And I put one of the smaller pieces down here. And now it's another puzzle. It's kind of putting together the pieces. And it's totally fine to overlap pieces. Like, they don't all have to be separate pieces. I seem to have black on this side and yellow on this side, so maybe I do this. And again, you don't have to completely finish the outline, like it doesn't have to be solid, and you don't have to use all the pieces. We're just looking for, again, composition. What feels balanced. That piece doesn't quite go there. Maybe this goes here. Those are 2 similar right next to each other, so I think maybe what I want to do is move this over here. I think my square is off a little bit, but that's okay. Maybe that goes there. Or I can put that in there. Or maybe this goes here. I kind of like the little mirror of the vase there. Maybe that overlaps a little more there. Maybe this piece doesn't go on at all. Oh, I like it there. I could cut that off. Let's see, this has got a flat edge. Could go there. I need some yellow, I think, over here somewhere. Maybe the fatter version of that. And the idea is to try to use all of the pieces. Now, you don't have to. If you come up with something that really works and you like it, that's totally fine. I don't really have a spot for this one. Maybe the smaller version needs to go here. And then I'll put the larger one here. I don't really like that weird gap there, so maybe that. Again, I'm looking for balance. You know, do I have my blacks distributed? Do I have my yellows distributed? This piece feels a little big to me there. So I probably am going to trim it a little bit. Again, that's your prerogative. Or maybe I swap. And don't put this one in at all. Or maybe it goes there. Now, the nice thing about the construction paper is I can flip it over and use it either way. Maybe that needs to go underneath there. I don't really have a spot for that. Now, I like having some yellow up here because there's so much. So I'm going to cheat just a little bit and just cut that down. And then if I need this piece somewhere, I could also add it. I do have kind of a big gap here. So I'm going to square this up just a little. And maybe that goes there. Okay, actually I kind of like that. There's some nice negative space here where your eye can sort of play around. And there's some spaces left here that we can add in marks with a pen. Now the question is, do I want to go that way or do I want to go that way? No, I do think it has to go here. Actually, that's not bad either. I could go a little further up. So I think that works too. I think I will do that instead. Okay, so now let's get this all glued down. And we'll line that up there just so there's some reference. Okay, now the question is, do I leave this long or do I cut it to match? Actually, I don't mind it long, so let's just leave it. You don't want to get bogged down into trying to cut down too many things. The idea with this is to try to use the pieces as they are. And then I have these little pieces that I cut off. So if I really wanted to add all of the pieces, I could put these tiny little pieces in. And then I really would have used up all of the pieces. The other nice thing about these pieces is that they're really small, so it gives it a little bit of variety. Now, where to put this piece? I feel like it's too hanging out there. I think I will line it up with that little piece right there. All right, and then what I like to do is get a little roller and just roller everything down just to make sure I've got everything glued well. You can throw a piece of paper over this if you get a lot of glue on here. That's the other reason I don't like to use the matte medium for these, because in trying to do this, you have to have a piece of palette paper and it gets kind of messy. Okay, so there's our little composition with just 2 colors and really only 4 pieces of paper. I think for this one, I like the layout, so I think I'm probably just going to leave it for now. Take a look at it. I didn't quite get my edges lined up. I think this piece was a little off. I'm going to just leave it for now and maybe come back to it in an hour or 2 or tomorrow and see if I want to add some line work. Okay, so I grabbed my white paint pen by Derwent. I have a black waterproof fine liner. I think it was 0.25 millimeters. And I also have a Micron pen. And I'm just going to add some lines, maybe connecting things. With something like a paint pen, it's always good to sort of test it first on a piece of paper just to make sure it doesn't blob on your paper. So I'm just thinking a little bit about where I might want to add some lines. And I'm just going to go through the process and add. So I'm just now going to just start adding some lines somewhere. I'm going to go slow and make sure that there is like some reason for me to put them there, that it's actually going to add to the composition and the design. So I'm actually going to fast forward through this a little bit so that you don't have to sit through the long process of me sort of assessing and drawing, and we'll get to the end result.